boy, do we have an episode today. Not only are we going to compare this little frink to this big bonk, we have some announcements. Nikon is releasing a couple of these fast primes that are vintage in their character, 3D pop, and photographers on forums everywhere are just confused and bewildered, like, oh my god, my brick wall's not going to be sharp enough in the corners. We have a lot to get to.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So this is going to be a very confusing episode because I want to talk about these new primes, and this is why I like Nikon as a system. We're on the Z6 III right now, 40mm/22, in the new Nikon RED log footage. So we'll try a couple luts today. This is my first shot at that, even though this is 9 years later. So this is going to be a strange episode because I want to talk about why these Nikon f1.4 lenses are better than the S-line 1.8s. While testing Sony's version, which is kind of the opposite. The better one is the smaller 1.8, I think. We'll see. Versus the big, expensive 1.4. It's a weird one, so test Sony while talking about Nikon. It could work. So drink this in, 40mm/22, Nikon RED colors. Boom. Let's switch to what we know and love, the Zeiss 55mm 1.8 on the Sony ZV-E1. Okay, so we're on at Zeiss 55 1.8. We will switch soon to the 50mm 1.4, which is way bigger, way more expensive, and we'll see. I think it should have less pop because then we'll get to Nikon. Trust me, this will all flow together so nicely. 7 elements in 5 groups, this lens. Most 3D pop lens I own. It's amazing, sharp, fantastic. You could not get better, but I'm always searching. I'm always looking. And this 50mm planar design, disgusting. 12 elements in 9 groups. So it should have less pop in my books. So here's the deal. Nikon is the only company I know of that is making modern mirrorless lenses that have that vintage character that we all know and love. Some of us know and love it. We eat 1970s expired cereal that we find on eBay. And we like old-timey things. But you photographer dorks don't even know what you're getting. You don't even realize that this is the better style of lens that actually can sense depth. And it's cheaper, lighter, stronger, faster. You get more Tonys, cheaper. It doesn't have to be S. Their S lenses are very clinical and sharp. It's brick wall footage. And these people are complaining now that, oh, this has chromatic aberrations. What is that? When I took a picture of a guy, there was this thing in the corner wasn't even sharp. I had to delete him in real life so he would be born a better person. I have been begging every company to just focus on these old vintage style low element count designs that give you some truth. There was a lens, one of you jabrones recommended this. I think it was a Super Takamar 50mm 1.4 manual focus only. I looked it up and I was like blown away. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but it's radioactive. I'm not getting that in my life. I'm a health nut. I have enough forehead rashes to deal with on my own time without the radiation added on top of it. So like, no thank you, but that's a special look. You think it's something the company couldn't do now? They could do it. They just choose not to. They want frickin' brick wall, and people are always, whenever you see a lens review, it's a test chart. It's a flat test chart. Who cares? Go take pictures of stuff. Let's switch lenses. Okay, what we should be seeing, in my mind at least, we have a more expensive lens. It's sharper. There's actually more background blur. On paper, it's the better lens. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to see that, but we're going to lack some depth. At some point, it's just not going to have it. Although, I don't know that Zeiss can even make a lens that sucks. So like, it's probably good, but I think the budget option is the better choice here, but I haven't seen it. I just took this combo out yesterday for some slow motion street videography stuff, so we'll get to that. But side by side, are we seeing it? Because I've never seen a sharper lens than that Zeiss 55mm, but apparently this one's even sharper. But do we have the character that we need? Is it worth the money? It's so much heavier. This one's 811 grams in use weight with the hood, no caps, whereas my little Zeiss is 324. Both underestimated on B&H always. Every lens weight on that site is a damn lie. But is there actually more ton in the background? Are those balls bigger? Well, that's a question we need to know, because I'm in the same spot, but that's wider of a lens. So I should have less ton, but it's more stops. How do you do that math? Who could even know? So when it comes to these Nikon primes, and then we'll go outside and test these two lenses in a 3D pop scenario. 35mm 1.4 and a 50mm 1.4. The 50mm is cheaper than the 35. I'm debating one or the other or both. I think that would replace my 40mm Tony 2, which is a fantastic lens, but it's a Tony 2. That's a full stop. I can see like a quarter of a stop in the Tony. I've seen it. I did a comparison like a 25mm 1.4 versus the Panasonic 25mm 1.7, and I was like, yeah, a little bit more background blur there. So like a full stop is like a death sentence. That's noticeable. Big time pop. But do you always want that? As you'll see in the street videography, sometimes I was like, that's too much background blur. I done effed up this whole scene. I was like, what the hell happened? I don't know. I wasn't seeing the same magic that I always get with the 55mm 1.8, but sometimes for ridiculous, stupid, like in-studio shots, you want the Dunnies. You want the Dunnies back there. You bring them on in there. You bring them on in. Don't be too light. Oh, shit, you. But you photographer crash test dummies don't even know what you're missing with these 1.4 primes that you're probably going to skip because it's not an S lens. And you're like, oh, this 1.8 is sharper. That doesn't matter. Imagine my face right now sharper. Disgusting. It's already too... Leave me alone. Stop looking at my face. Why do you always look at my face? I don't need that. Nobody needs it. You think a bride needs that? Can you... Do you have 90 megapixels? Can you just crop in on... Can you see my makeup? The layers of it? I want to show you how I paint and sculpt my face. And men have the same insecurities. We all do inside. So it's like the soft, pleasing look. I think that's what these Nikon lenses are gonna have. So you're shooting raw internally on a Nikon with RED color science, decent autofocus, and vintage prime lenses with modern autofocus capabilities. It sells itself. Okay, let's go outside and test the 3D pop abilities of 55 versus 50, and then we learn more about Sony and Nikon together. I brought you to a dewy lake. The air is so misty. I've never seen it like this. It's like water in the air. Unbelievable. So we're on the Zeiss 55mm 1.8, and I brought 5 comments that I saw on DP Review that made me lose faith in humanity, definitely photographers. We'll switch on over to the 50mm soon, but from what I've seen so far in the video, if you're just doing the talking head thing, they looked almost identical. Like, save your money, get the Zeiss 55, which probably has more pop, but we will see that soon. It just looked so same, like the same characteristics. Very sharp. Those Nikon RED luts, what the hell were those? That's a creative look on that one. I don't know about that. Okay, let's get to these. There's no way I would buy such a lens. So now we're talking about these new amazing Nikon primes that I can't believe they made, and I'm so happy they did, but photographers don't appreciate it somehow. Never would I buy such a lens, or the 35 1.4. Sure, they're cheap, but their optical characteristics are not even close to the 1.8 primes. I get that it's for character purists, for the soft portrait shooters and stuff, but why? This is exactly why Sony wins in sales over Nikon. They don't. Actually, yeah, they really do. They make crazy good lenses. Oh God, like the new 85 1.4. Damn it. I needed that second phone. This is why I cannot trust photographers. They don't even know what they're seeing. They take a picture. They don't even notice that it's wallpaper, flatness, pancake level. If you're a pancake photographer, okay, I'm with you. If you like stomping on cans to save space in your recycling bin, and then you take pictures of that, okay. If you don't want this kind of pop in your life, I'm with you. I don't know why you would want that, but I'm just so happy these lenses exist. Like, not only are they faster than your stupid 1.8 primes, they're not as clinically sharp, so you'll look better and younger, and potentially at least, we get some pop separation. Oh, the mist. There's ducks. Oh, I hid them from you. I'm a dick. Oh, I am a dick. I feel Nikon is now recycling old design and using the 1.4 label to attract buyers to buy mediocre lenses because of such label. Yes, and thank you, Nikon, for doing that. It's the old lenses that were magic. The old vintage touch, the Nikon F primes. It's like everybody that bought into the Z lenses, they're like, wow, that is sharp. Maybe a bit too sharp. Let me just slide down. And you're blurring your image now because it's such clinical sharpness. Does Sony have me out here? It might not. It might have caught an infection from that TT Artisan lens, but hopefully not. That's a loud truck. I'm at a beach, you dick. That's what a fake smile looks like. That's how you fake smile at people who are being too loud for their own good. But yeah, it's the old lenses. Like, all I want is, yeah, take that same simple element count, like that 105mm 2.5 Nikkor lens, took that Afghan girl photo, vintage touch, 1959 stuff, 5 elements, beautiful, sharp as tacks, amazing character. Just take that type of lens, but add your autofocus motors in there. It's a little bigger. Okay, we can't win them all. That's what we're looking for. Let us switch to the 50 prime here, maybe, perhaps. I'll leave the phone so I know. Switching. Zeiss 50. Are we still popping? Am I in your living room? Can you see that this is a thing that goes far, but sometimes is near? It's a hard one to see. Sometimes I'm looking for the 3D pop, I'm like, I don't know if I even see it, or sometimes it's very obvious. It's like a separation. On a good 3D pop lens, you're in the scene, whereas the fake ones, the flat lenses, a Sigma, you're like a green screen. You don't look like you belong on your earth. And you don't if you're a photographer. Canon, where are you? He has a point, doesn't he? I'm with you. Canon has the strangest strategy for lens development. They announced the Canon EOS R, and they're in mirrorless. It's like, okay, Sony's kicking our ass. We should join this eventually. And then they start adding 1.2 primes that are super big. They have no pop, expensive, sharp. It's like, I don't know about that. And then they offer you budget ghetto stuff like Tony 9 primes and shit. I've seen them. And they're just ugly. And Canon, for some reason, has taken an approach where both their expensive lenses and their cheap ones are all flat. Not one popping lens. You have to go to the old EF stuff, and then it's heavier, you're adapted, you're front heavy, your mom's front heavy. Are you aware of that? Are you aware? So, I believe that those people distracted me. They're looking continuously at me. I'm a YouTuber. It's a real job. If you want 3D popping lenses with autofocus, you have some options. If you're in the Sony universe, potentially this lens or not. But at least some of the Zeiss primes do pop for sure. The 55, the 35 2.8, definitely. There's probably others. Maybe some of the Badisses are kind of poppy. So Sony, you're okay. Canon, you have no options. You have to go EF glass or adapted. And yes, you can adapt any 3D pop lens to any mirrorless, but it's manual focus only. That gets old fast. Could I be walking? Could I have done that little kick move? On a manual focus, you're joking. I took you to a lake and hid it. I hid the lake. Are there swans? That's a boat. Oh, I should learn my bird species. Okay, you'll see it eventually. I'll bring it to you. I'm bringing it back. So Nikon has some, the 40mm Tony 2, these new 1.4 primes. It's like Z-mount stuff, or you could adapt f-glass if you had to. Fuji also has a lot of poppy glass, but your APS-C and your background is less blurry, so you're gonna still pop less just for blurring the background less. But still, 35mm 1.4, 16mm, 23, they have some pops. 56, 1.2, the old one, not the new stuff. So it's like you have some options, and Panasonic. You have your Leica glass for micro four thirds, lots of poppy stuff. The full frame, those are real Leica glass, so that's like 6,000 and up. But there is one, 50mm Tony 2, is pretty cheap, somewhat cheap. It's not cheap at all. What the heck does prioritizing character over clinical sharpness exactly mean? What is lens character? You're a dick. Even though you're asking a genuine question and there is no actual answer, you're a dick. It's the tone that I don't like of what you just did to me. So a character lens, nothing is perfect. That's the problem. We're going for test chart perfection where the corners are sharp, the middle is exact. Whereas like a character lens will have some quirks. There's chromatic aberrations, but just like add a nice pleasant green outline to one side and a purple on the other side. Most YouTubers go for that look intentionally. So that adds to the pop. And then there's like tonne. It's like weird balls, like swirly stuff. I think the Zeiss 55 had like swirlier tonne, and that adds to the pop. Whereas this one's a little more clinical, isn't it? Yeah, so it's just like flares, like things that companies try to perfect and correct, and then it's just boring and flat. No, thank you. So like, some of them are just bad. Old vintage lenses, like, wow, that's just hazy and like fungus. But like, there's potential for some lenses to have good character. And the Fuji 35mm 1.4 is known for that, having character. It's not the exact sharpness. Human face doesn't need sharpness. All right, last comment here. Not an S lens, so don't expect too much. Don't expect too much in the bed when you're in it next to me, farting all night. Why did I place myself in a bed with a man, a farting photographer at that? I could do better than that. So, you're an asshole. It's an S lens. They're clinical, they're bad. I tried the best one, 85 1.2. You can't get better than that. And it was just so sharp and flat that I died. I couldn't even return it. My son from the future had to return it to Amazon. Freaking tried to sell the thing. Just like I'm gonna try to sell this lens. Probably. It's glorious. Is that another squirrel? Oh, wow. That is, oh God, I gotta show him to you. Oh, that was wet. Oh, that's disgusting. He's out of the shot. That doesn't take long, does it? So don't listen to them, Nicky boy. Keep on your train. You know exactly what you're doing. You come out with clinical sharpness for portrait studio work. These guys are having like this lame-ass background. They're stopping down to Tony 8. And they're taking headshots. They're like, I'll send them to you. I can add this to my portfolio. You're a geek. And so like that's what they're doing. They're getting paid. Oh, look at me with my money. Fancy money. So that's like professional work. You want the ideal thing, but those people will be sad with the results. They would rather have a 3D pop. Look at us, hon. We're popping out of the frame here. That's amazing. You could have had it, but you don't. So Nikon, good job. Don't listen to the haters. These guys don't know what they can't even see it themselves. It's disgusting. What was that? Oh, a cormorant. No one cares. There's a bird right there, too. Oh, God. If only I could control the camera with my mind and just point it right there, you'd have a bird out of focus. Cormorant? Did Zeiss handle that? There's a bird on my scooter handle. Oh, that is cinematic. Oh God, oh, he flew away. Oh, that's a bitch. Here's the kind of magic you're missing right now. Where is it? See that yellow bird? He jumped on my scooter handle. Oh, the cinema is ours. It's ours. Totally ours. Oh, that camera switch. What a beautiful location. I love fast pans like this so you can see everything. It's beautiful, huh? So keep on dreaming, 3D poppers. The companies will come for you. Canon, never. So you're only going into Canon if you have EF glass. Otherwise, like, you're getting that 28 to 70, 2.8. Oh, wow. Zoom lenses need to die a swift death. Oh, that bird stayed there. Wow, he's right there. Oh God, stay there. I'm gonna get the most cinematic shot of you. Look at that cinema. You're trying to tell me that's not the cinema right there. Come on now. That lens, that's, oh my goodness. I'm a nature photographer with video on a phone. What happens when we do this? Bad things? Yeah, I knew that. Oh, come on, there's nothing in the frame. The cinema's ours. So let me know who won this battle, Zeiss versus Zeiss, and which of the two Nikon lenses should I buy, the 35 or the 50? Can't really go wrong with either, could you? I think I'm more of a 50 kind of guy. It's a loud boat. You have a diesel engine in there? Is there any drugs on board if I come on board, sir? I'll leave. We learned nothing. Bitcoin, it's on that side. I refuse to move it. Pop.